Chaitanya, 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 Chaitanya. Chaitanya, 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 Chaitanya. Nityananda, Nityananda, Nityananda Ram. Nityananda, Nityananda, Nityananda Ram. Chaitanya, 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 Chaitanya. Chaitanya, 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 Chaitanya. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Gurudev, Jaya Gurudev. Jaya Gurudev, Gurudev. Anitya go, Hari Bo, Haribo, Nitya go, Haribo. Anitya go, Haribo, Nitya go, Haribo. Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radhe. Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radhe. Jaya Radha Kala Chandi Radha Kala Chandi Radhe. Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra. Anitya Gopi Go Hariba Hariba Anitya Go Hariba. Jai Om Vishnu Bham Hamdrakachad Sarasri Sriman, His Divine Grace is confounded Chad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Sri Prabhupada Ki. Jai Om Vishnu Bham Hamdrakachad Sarasri Sriman, His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Ki. Sri Ranamachad Haridas Thakur Ki. Name Sehot Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Dvaita Gurhar Sri Vasadi Go Bhaktivinda Ki. Sri Radha Krishna Saima Sundarada Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki. Vindavindam Ki. Mato Yadham Ki. Navore Dham Ki. Jamuna Mai Ki. Ganga Mai Ki. Tulasi Devi Ki. Bhakti Devi Ki. Samaveda Bhakta Vinda Ki. All glories to the assembly devotees. All glories to the assembly devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Guranga. Gaura Purnima ki, Ishivara Damodar ki, Gita Nagari Dham ki. Hare Krishna. Confounded Tada Srila Prabhupada ki. So, I want to read some things from the Chaitanya Bhagavat in connection with some of Lord Chaitanya's special pastimes. But first we want to have a chance to engage in a simple samskara of one of the members in our community, Vishaka Devi Dasi, being able to take her first grain today. We know that it's very special to do anything in the assembly of Vaishnavas, and it's extremely special to do things on very special days. It's like hopefully some of us, as we've been thinking today, have been looking over our devotional service, looking over our lives, and taking maybe some closer notice of some things we want to improve on. Perhaps today we've been looking a little closer at how many years we have been engaged in devotional service, or should we say how many decades for some of us, or perhaps for many of us, how many lifetimes. And hopefully today we've been thinking, especially since this morning you were sharing in the Bhagavatam class many of the wonderful leelas of Mahaprabhu, helping us all to realize how exalted, how wonderful, how personal, and how much mystery there is in this wonderful movement that Srila Prabhupada has made available for us, as he is serving his Guru, who is serving his Guru, who is connected with Krishna himself, as he has come in the bhav of Srimati Radharani. And how complete it is in thinking that we're not just worshiping God as it, or God as he, or God as anything that's ambiguous or incomplete. But we're worshiping not only God, but we're worshiping Summum Bonum, the absolute truth. We know that there's a distinct difference between God in terms of a category of position of a Ishvarya, supreme, a great controller. And we understand even the quality of Parameshvara, that it has its nomenclature, it has its identity, it has its rupa, it has its guna, it has its lila. And in these pastimes, the machita magata pana boyantis cha parasparam, katyantis cha manicha tushanti cha romanti cha, it's those pastimes that has a lot to do with what qualifies a devotee. A devotee of Krishna is one who's devoted to coming to Krishna or serving Krishna, is one who's devoted and dedicated to hearing about Krishna and to speaking and becoming very enlivened. Otherwise, hearing about these amazing ways that Krishna comes wouldn't make much sense to the average theist or to the average religionist. The mind would say that is impossible. The mind would say that is irrational. The mind would say that is romantic, that is idealistic. But the mind of the Bhakta says, yes. We understand that the position of the Godhead, that there is nothing that the Godhead cannot do to its perfection. And the perfection is not just to oversee. Perfection is not just to create and be outside of one's creation while others enjoy, destroy, or somehow manipulate the things in that environment. But the completion is to simultaneously to be outside and to be an observant, but at the same time to be a participant. And at the same time, not to be bound by either perspective. Not to be bound by having to be the supreme monitor, or not to be bound by once one enters or leaves the position of monitoring that one no longer has that jurisdiction or power of attorney, and now one has become a practitioner. Like sometimes people have trouble with the bhaktas, or sometimes people who are philosophers especially have trouble with any people who involve themselves in any spiritual any commitments, because they feel that once you have committed, once you have joined, then you no longer have objective perspective. When you have joined something, now you're participating and you have become subjective, because now you are one of them, whatever that may be. So there is somehow in Kali Yuga a conception that there is something wonderful about just interpolating, speculating, conjecturing, but not participating. Just like today I was seeing how enchanting it was as I was sitting over in the chair, and I was envious as anything. Devotees are dancing. Doctors told me not to dance for 3 months. I'm 1 month down already, so 2 more months to go. But I was thinking how wonderful, how enchanting, especially watching the children with the adults. And I was thinking how fortunate we are that we have a theology that is so much complete, and that it's about the way we eat, the way we dress, the way we sing, the way we mate, even the way we look in terms of defense, all of these things. But at the same time, very simple, but extremely profound. Just coming up, I was glancing over some of the books down there, and I was thinking, so many different, wonderful literatures to help us understand about that same Supreme Personality of God. And at the same time, we honor the Bible and the Quran and the Torah and so many other literatures, and we see them as wonderful, but we also see that there is something else. We see that, there is some deeper way in understanding what has been given to us by the different acharyas, since time immemorial. And we understand that ultimately the Supreme Personality of Godhead has not come to perform, has not sent his agents to come and to perform so that we can think about them and speak about them. That's only a small part of it. But they have come to enlist us, enroll us in this wonderful Yuga Dharma. They have come to encourage us to eat and dance and to sing for the Lord. They have come to show us how to do it. See these pictures? So Lord is showing how to worship himself. What can be more merciful than someone who has certain rules, tenets, and criterion that is to be followed? So it takes good care to let others know what is to be done. But then not only makes it explicit, but then shows how it is to be done. And this is what Lord Chaitanya is doing. He's showing us how to be the proper, perfect devotee. He's showing us, reminding us, what is the goal of devotion and what is the means. And he's showing us, and what is the relationship involved. Sambandha, Abhideya, Prabhajana. He's showing us himself. And so in this way, we should somehow get it. Huh? He's come in so many other incarnations in so many ways. And he has arranged that in this dispensation that we can have not just the very complex Vedic scriptures, not even just the very extensive Mahabharata, but we have Bhagavad Gita, and we have the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we have the Chaitanya Bhagavat, where we are having a chance to gaze like looking in the window at what is available. We have a chance to gaze and to be able to focus on how those representatives or personalities who are eternally associated with the spiritual kingdom, how they think, how they interact, how they are so absorbed and intoxicated in their worshipful Lord. And so when they descend and they come into these universes, we have a chance to see what they do as they take the grihastha life, as they have different types sometimes of employment, as they preach, as they travel, as they represent the philosophy by addressing materialism, voidism, impersonalism, sahajiism. So there's never a time that we can't open up one of these literatures and be able to get amazing clues and realizations and guidance. And how to live. We are living as a brahmachari, we're living as vanapras, we're living as sannyas, we're living as grihas. There is knowledge of what is to be done based on the study of especially some of these very human-like leelas, where the highest comes to make itself available in most practical ways. So I was just appreciating how just spontaneous, kirtan is there, the bhajan is there, and the devotees are dancing, but not disco dance, not just ordinary ritual dance, not anniversary dance. People dance also. People dance for weddings, and they dance for, parties, and they dance for other types of rites of passages as well. But in our case, it is always to be an offering. Offering our minds, offering our words, offering our bodies back to Krishna. So that one day we don't even have these bodies, these physical bodies, but we are in our original swarup. So today, to start, is the day for Vishaka to start eating solid food. And so, as these important things that we do, as devotees, we always want to do it with blessings. And just as in Chaitanya Leela, we see that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took birth, and as he grew up and went through different stages of maturation, there was also prayers, samskaras. Even at his grain ceremony, he was also, as we were going to do with Vishaka, we will get a chance, and she'll get a chance to see what is of most interest. Lakshmi or Shastra. Maybe she will be very dynamic and she will take both. Say, one for daddy, one for mommy. Gita and Mata. I think once I saw that one child came in this. For both. Everything is complete in Krishna consciousness. As I was sitting there also, little Kalakanti came over and she was whispering to me. And as we were doing the Abhishek, she was asking, so Lord Chaitanya has come down. Why doesn't Krishna come down? And I looked. She says, Lord Chaitanya has come down. When will Krishna come down? and I tried to explain very briefly. And I said, well, today is Lord Chaitanya's birthday. And when Krishna's birthday comes, we'll bring him down also. And she looked at me like to say, there's more to it than that. And I thought, well, okay. I'll have to try better next time. And I was thinking how, it is quite awesome what exposure that the children are actually getting by being a part of Krishna conscious culture and philosophy. And how even when the kids are in Maya, about 3 or 4 years ago, I think I once mentioned, there was a reunion in New Vrindavan. And I was in the cabin, and it was quite warm, so the window was open. And I was just intrigued in listening to this Gurukuli kid having an argument with her mother. And although it was combative, but it was so dynamic because she was like so philosophical, this little girl. And she was just one thing after another, almost like in a jovial mood. But she was defeating her mother with philosophy. But she was defeating her mother to justify Maya. And I was thinking, oh, this is awesome. This little girl is definitely in Maya, but she is so she is so philosophically aware and using philosophy to justify, her particular interest, And it was kind of cute because after a point, the mother just had to kind of put her hands down. I just tried to think of a basic way how to get her point across without, discussion of philosophy. Just to, create a sort of a side. But it was quite interesting. So, we want to, as adults, we want to finish up now and go back in this lifetime. And if somehow something happens that we don't quite go back, then then Krishna will surely arrange that we can take birth in the womb of a devotee, where we can again be exposed to Krishna conscious culture. But if we do have to come back, we surely would like the environment to be as surcharged as possible, to be supportive as possible, so that we surely will finish up the next time. So we are all pioneers in planting seeds. And as we do our best, we enhance our own ability to reach total success in this lifetime. We enhance the ability of our present children and their children and ourselves if we have to, once again, take birth in this material world. We would pray that if we do have to take birth, then we would come back as part of Lord Chaitanya's internal army or brigade, where we come not as prisoners, but we come to help to reclaim souls, to encourage them how to come back, to experience what has become a part of our own property, part of our own identity. So we have some grain. You can bring it for me? Maybe Vishaka has come back many times. You look at her, she looks like a little old lady, huh? Not a baby. How many times have you been at this? Haribo. Hare Krishna. How many times? A dozen? 3? 2? Open up. Jai. Haribo. It looks like you've already been eating grain. All of that is just a milk buddy? Oh, okay. Says, Swami, stop talking and feed me. You sure you haven't been sneaking grain already? No? So you'll be the first one to break the fast today, huh? Mommy made you fast, that's why you're hungry. So we're going to see which she will take, the Lakshmi or the books. Oh, okay. No more. Okay. She got a couple of teeth also, huh? I'm supposed to give a lecture today, you know. One more. She likes sweets, huh? Okay. Okay, Daddy got you. He says, I don't know about the Lakshmi or the book, I want the prasadam. He says, what about the prasadam? You in front of her, will she come? Touch the Lakshmi, then touch the book. Hey, what is this? Well, I think you have a Babaji. She doesn't want either. I think she's not going to take either. Oh, Purnima! Okay. Well, all of your financial problems shall be solved. Have one who is blessed by Lakshmi Devi. Oh, okay. Yes, that's all. So I want to just read a little bit from the Chaitanya Bhagavat. So before the day is over, anyone else has some things they need to, for the day to be the first day or to open up a new aspect of their life, Purnima is definitely a wonderful day to consider such. You see another change around. I think someone changed their cloth today. Looks like Jishnu has changed his cloth. He's taken Purnima as a day to change his dress. I want to, let's see where we start, something brief here. When, interesting that it's mentioned in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, is that in Navadvip, when Lord Chaitanya descended, it was quite chaotic, quite complex. People were not, in general, so focused on worship of Krishna. But there was such a focus on worshipping of Durga. Karma, Mimamsa activities were very, very rampant. To such an extent that when the devotees were having their bhajans and absorbed in their various forms of worship in Srivastava Kaur's house, the people were seeing it as a botheration. And they were even thinking of maybe attacking them or finding some way to stop the activity. Chaitanya Bhagavat mentions how they were fearful that the Muslims might come and take over the area because of this going on, be disturbed by it. So in so many ways, they were displeased. They were not pursuing, trying to understand deeper about Krishna, nor were they eager to encourage or see others doing such. And so Lord Chaitanya, taking birth in such an environment, see that he was definitely on a mission, had many, many purposes, of course, why he descended. But it mentions in Chaitanya Bhagavat that only certain eternal servants of the Lord descended with him in Navadvita. But it mentions so many of the more confidential servitors, they took birth in other environments. And in some cases, they were even more complex and even hellish. But part of the reason that they did this, helping us to understand Lord Chaitanya's mission even more, to the degree that it was to every town and to every village, to the degree that he was reaching out for everyone, the most fallen, making what would normally be very difficult, almost impossible, making it extremely accessible. And so in order to do that, just like sometimes we build temples, we have various projects, or we own the building, or buy the building, or build the building. And that's our main place for worship. So, many people will come to have darshan with the Lord, to associate with the festivals and Sunday programs, and some temples have weekly programs, a Sunday program and a Wednesday in a lot of places in the world, 2 major programs during the week. But still, whether it's just a regular Sunday or whether it's a Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam or a festival, only a certain number or amount of people will come to the temple. There's some people that will feel that coming to another facility of a different religion is just an imposition. Or they'll feel that it will suggest that they have abandoned their own previous religion or previous connections. And so they'll feel a little shy, timid. Some people will feel shy because they see things as just so different. Just like yesterday, one of the local gentlemen had come to repair my telephone. And he was quite an interesting born-again Christian. And we were talking, and he was very open-minded, and he had met some of the devotees before and was very pleased at his experience with the devotees. But he was also mentioning one of his colleagues who was afraid to come into the ISKCON farm. And he was discussing also some other people who he felt were quite prejudiced or prejudging before really trying to understand what we do, why we do, and who we are. As we were discussing, and I was trying to share with him that, people are people. And in any environment, you have different kinds of people. And so when it comes to theology, there is some general tenets of the theologies. But even within that, there's all kind of hypocrites, whatever the religion is. There are people who do not represent their bona fide religion in a bona fide way. And these people, they do a disservice. Where I explained that, do we think that the Supreme Godhead can be bribed? That just by what we say we are and we don't do it sufficiently, that he's going to not notice it? Or that he can be bribed based on the fact that we're not really so ready to fully surrender, and we take shelter of some movement or some teaching that accommodates our lack of deep commitment of surrender, and that he will see it as all the same. He's all fair. Because he's all fair, he's responding to each person's genuine commitment, genuine level of devotion, genuine participation. And so it never has been a matter of where we do our particular worship per se, whether it's in our house, whether it's in the temple, whether it's on the grounds. But what's important is, of course, the quality. And so, as there are those people who would have trouble coming into an environment that is somewhat different from what they have been conditioned and programmed to accept as the norms. So then sometimes we have with the Namahatas, and we have the preaching centers, and we have devotees going everywhere distributing books and doing bhajan and doing kirtan, where people do not have to come to us per se, but we come to them, and we come to them in an arrangement that is sort of less, less imposing, less challenging to them, less bewildering. There are times when devotees will have something, or someone will have something at their house, their devotee. People can come, or would come faster to their home, but the same person will be reluctant at first to come to a temple. So part of the mercy is that everyone should get opportunity exposure. How much they accept, that's up to them. Lord Chaitanya has requested that we give everyone a chance to know something about him. So just as we ourselves are trying to do that all over our ISKCON society, that Mahaprabhu has been foremost in doing such. By Krishna coming and presenting himself in such a way, human-like way, where he is interacting in all kinds of environments, and sends his devotees in all kinds of environments, taking birth in all types of environments, so that anyone who really wants an opportunity will have some kind of facilitation where they can be exposed to Krishna's to Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is possessing all the opulences and Supreme Personality of Godhead. And if someone, by their innermost desires, don't really want to know about the Lord, then he will also facilitate such an arrangement. But there's not an entity on this planet or in any universe who wants to know about Krishna who will not be given some facility to be able to make a contact. There's not one entity on this planet who will not be given more and more facility proportionate to their spiritual greed and desire to become an unalloyed servant. By virtue of the fact that Krishna is in everyone's heart, so nothing goes unnoticed based on our prayers and our cries. So first I just want to read briefly about this appearance and how Lord Chaitanya descends in Navadvip and how he was arranging for other agents, some to descend with them and others in different environments, because he wanted to make sure that everyone would get a chance for this very, very special mercy that would normally be quite complex to, quite difficult. But now he has come himself through the mercy, with the connection of his Ladini Shakti potency, Srimati Radharani, Mother of Devotion, who is surveying all of her dependents and trying to reclaim them. Following this Chaitanya Bhagavat, following his order, the Lord's personal associates took birth in the world of human beings. Ananta, Shiva, Brahma, and the great sages took birth as the Supreme Lord's personal associates. They all took birth as great devotees of the Lord. Lord Krishna was well aware of their true identities. Some took birth in the land of Navadvip, some in Chatti Gram, some in Radha Desh, some in Orissa, some in Srihata, and some in the west. Although they descended to the earth in these different places, these devotees assembled in Navadvip. Although many of the Vaishnavas took birth in Navadvip, some of the Vaishnavas most dear to the Lord were born in other places. Srivas Pandit, Sri Ram Pandit, and Sri Chandra Shekhar, who are worshipped in the three worlds, and the physician named Murari Gupta, who cures the disease of the repeated birth and death, descended in this world in Sri Hata. The great Vaishnavas Pundarik, Vijayanidhi, Chaitanya Vallabha, and Vasudeva Datta. They appeared in Chatti Gram. Haridas descended to this world in Budhana. In Radha Desh is a village named Ekachakra. Who appeared in Ekachakra? Yes. Lord Nityananda descended in the world from Ekachakra. Although he, the father of everyone, Lord Nityananda pretended that his father was a devotee named Hridai Pandit, or Harai Pandit, who was the king of the pure Brahmanas. Thus Lord Nityananda Ram, who is an ocean of mercy, the giver of devotion, and the shelter of the devotees, descended to this world in Radhadesh. It's like an amazing, army, and someone is commissioned to go here, someone goes there. They all study a master plan first, their strategy, and then they're sent out to do what they have to do. At the same time, they're in touch with each other to see that the plan is executed with expedience. Paramahamsa Puri, who associated with the Lord in the past times at Jagannath Puri, appeared in Trihat. The place by the Ganges shores are all pure and sacred. Why then did these Vaishnavas take birth in impious, lamentable places? Lord Chaitanya himself descended to this world by the Ganges shore. Why then did his personal associates take birth in other distant places? The Pandavas never went to any place where the Ganges or the holy names of the Lord were absent. Because he loves all living entities as a father loves his children, the Supreme Lord ordered these great devotees to take birth in these different places, to deliver the residents of the material world. Lord Chaitanya descended to this world of matter. Thinking them equal to the holy places, the great Vaishnavas took birth in lamentable, impious countries and lamentable, impious families. In this way, they delivered everyone. In other words, they were so determined, so merciful to give everyone chance that they did not just make themselves available to the great pundits. They did not just make themselves available, in the most holiest lands. They did not just make themselves available only in the most pious families. That was there also. But it was so inclusive of how they sacrificed and took birth in so many abominable places even, with the mission, commission, and dedication to give everybody a wonderful chance. So this is what we are connected with. Not just a religion, not just a philosophy, not just how to make heaven on earth, not just how to acquire piety or punya, not just how to serve the Lord as the annihilator and controller, as the ultimate authority, ultimate autocrat, but literally how to dance with the Lord, sing with the Lord, eat with the Lord, dress with the Lord, fight with the Lord, wrestle with the Lord, etc. Now, I want to just take, for these last minutes, one special story or pastime, as there's so many we can choose from. But the particular and maybe you discussed it a little bit this morning, but pastime where a pure and simple Brahmana has come to Jagannath Mishra's house, and Lord Chaitanya engages in amazing pranks. Now this story, first it depicts Lord Chaitanya's reason for descending, as he later tells the Brahmana who he is and what his mission is. It shows the confidentiality of what Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya represent. That they so magnanimously come in disguise, and even though they're in disguise and they're representing that the highest expression of the spiritual paradigm, that they're engaged in these very human activities, human-like activities, and especially being attentive to their devotees. To such an extent that they even have fun with their devotees, to such an extent that even what may seem to often be very inauspicious, when the bhakti is fixed and steady, that it will only produce the most wonderful associations and experiences with the Lord. Also, it's a sign of the importance of perseverance and determination in doing the right thing, even though there may be some distractions in doing such. It's a story that shows the importance of when we are consistent of how Krishna will reach out to identify, to clarify, and to reward us. It's a story letting us know how Krishna is so consistent in keeping record, because this Brahmana had literally appeared with Krishna in previous lifetimes. He had been a worshipper of Krishna. And Krishna had taken such notice of his bhakti. And Krishna was being so attentive to his dedication in offering his puja, offering his prayer, offering the bhoga. It's a way to remind us that even in our perhaps present state, we're not so cognizant that Krishna is reciprocating, that we should know that he is. Even more ready to reciprocate than we can imagine. So the Brahmana was preparing the bhog, offering it to the Lord, but not understanding the degree of how much Krishna was accepting, how much Krishna was appreciating his steadiness, simplicity, and most important, his purity. How Krishna so much honored his mother and father, his great devotees, that he would
descend with them. And so have seemingly something so ordinary, but it's actually so extraordinary, because from that, then the mission is being spreaded to every town and to every village. Glory, glory to Lord Vishrambar, who is the supreme master of all masters, who is very dear to the devotees, and whose feet are marked with the flag, the thunderbolt, and the elephant gong. Staying in Jagannath Mishra's home. I mean, isn't this the kind of Lord we want? We don't want to worship a God that's unapproachable, a God that doesn't show himself, a God who doesn't understand what we experience or what we undergo, a God who is so busy that he doesn't have time for the average servant or aspirant. We don't want a God who just somehow appeared at some time in history and now he's never going to really give himself anymore. We just missed out if somehow we didn't take birth at a certain time in history. But we're excited that we can worship the Lord and be able to see how everything ultimately is coming literally from him. And that all music, all song, all dance, all festival, all food, all relationships is actually only existing because they are a piecemeal, they are an expression of that which is in its whole sense in connection with the spiritual world. So we don't see it unusual that the Lord can have family. We don't see it as unusual that he can have a pastime where he is doing pranks, a pastime where he is in various types of relationships. We see that there's only these relationships because they're ultimately coming and are connected with Krishna. We realize there is only loving relationships, whether it is through servitude or whether it is through parental or fraternal or conjugal. We realize that those are only existing because they are replicas or they are minute aspects of something that is more grand and more complete. One day Jagannath Mishra called out, "O Vishrambar, my son, bring me my book." Hearing his father's words, the boy ran inside the house, bringing with him the sound of tinkling anklets. Jagannath Mishra said, "What are these tinkling ankling bells I hear?" The Brahmana and the Brahmana's parents searched the four directions. He said, "My son does not wear anklets on his feet. Who makes that sweet sound of the tinkling anklets?" So I want to go right to the story of the Brahmana. But here we see that Krishna was giving more of himself in full. That he is now, he has appeared as Mahaprabhu, as this little boy who is being called Nimai Vishrambar. But every now and then he was giving them a glimpse of who in fact he really is. And so he was allowing them to hear his ankle bells that he wears as the child the child Gopal. Now this Brahmana, let's see where we can start here. Chanting the 6 syllables. Let's see. Now please hear another wonderful pastime of Lord Chaitanya, the son of Jagannath Mishra. To please Lord Krishna, a very certain pious Brahmana went on pilgrimage to many holy places. Chanting this 6-syllable Gopal mantra, he worshipped the Lord. He did not eat anything that was not the remnants of food offered to Lord Gopal. This Brahmana was quite strict. So because of his purity, strictness, dedication, we see how he was able to attract Krishna himself. After traveling to many holy places, By destiny, the fortunate Brahmin came to Lord Chaitanya's home. We understand in no accident, there was Sukriti. A Shalagram Shila and a deity of the Lord Balagopal were the ornaments he wore around his neck. He shone with a pearlless Brahminical luster. The Brahmana always chanted, Krishna, Krishna. His eyes closed. In his heart, he tasted the nectar of Lord Govinda. Seeing this Brahmana's effulgence, Jagannath Mishra at once stood up and he respectively bowed down before him. Jagannath Mishra honored this great Brahmana with respectable hospitality. He washed his guest's feet and offered him an elevated sitting place. When this guest was comfortably seated, Jagannath Mishra asked him, "Where is your home?" The Brahmana replied, "I do not belong to any country or province. I travel wherever my heart takes me." Jagannath Mishra bowed down and said, "The world is fortunate that you travel in this way. Today I am very fortunate. If you give permission, I will arrange for you to cook." The Brahmana said, "Oh, Jagannath Mishra, you may do as you like." Then Jagannath Mishra made splendid arrangements for cooking. First, he nicely cleaned the kitchen, and then he brought all the ingredients for the cooking. The Brahmana guest personally did the cooking with great happiness. And then he also made the offering to Lord Krishna. This Brahmana, keep in mind, is very renounced. He's just traveling, fully dependent upon Krishna. Krishna is drawing him, is attracting him to different environments. He's attracting him now to Jagannath Mishra's house. Jagannath Mishra is expertly making arrangements for the Brahmana to cook prasadam. The Brahmana is so fixed in wanting to do this as an offering for his Lord. The Brahmana guest personally did the cooking. Then Lord Chaitanya, who is the super soul in everyone's heart, the Lord, he thought, "I will reveal myself to this Brahmana." The Lord in the heart, seeing the quality of this Brahmana, was not obliged, but was excited to make himself fully available to one who has given all for him, or one who is only thinking and dedicating his life as a servant. So even though he's in disguise and has come particularly to reach out and give everyone opportunity, he was not in any way minimizing or missing those very special agents. When the Brahmana began his meditation, Lord Chaitanya suddenly came before him. Lord Chaitanya's limbs were covered with dust and cloth only by the four directions. His head, hands, and feet were very graceful. His eyes were reddish. Smiling, he took some of the Brahmana's food and he placed it in his own graceful mouth. He ate one mouthful. Then he looked at the Brahmana. Now, imagine Lord Chaitanya coming in with dust, all dusty, like a little, mischievous kid. And the Brahmana, Paka Brahmana, is sitting down, doing his mantras, making the offering. And the Lord comes in and acting as a little child, and he snatches and takes the Brahmana's food. "Ha ha!" the fortunate Brahman called out. "This restless boy has stolen my food." Jagannath Mishra at once came. He saw smiling Lord Chaitanya eating the Brahmana's rice. Angry, Jagannath Mishra wanted to chase after this boy and to beat him. The anxious Brahmana guest stood up and he grasped Jagannath Mishra's hand. The Brahmana said, "Oh, Jagannath Mishra, look, you are a respectable and learned person. What knowledge does this little boy have? What will beating him accomplish?" So we see austerity, simplicity, dedication, perseverance, and compassion, all in the Brahmana's character and quality. It is one thing to beat a person who can reason right from wrong, but if you beat this little boy, I will curse you. Jagannath Mishra unhappily placed his head in his hands. He did not lift his head. He did not speak. He was so embarrassed because he was so respectful toward a Brahmana, and his own son doing this. He was devastated. The Brahmana said, it's like in parents, you see that sometimes the parent, your little child does something, and it was unhealthy, it was improper, and you're embarrassed. The Brahmana said, "Oh, Jagannath Mishra, do not be unhappy at heart. Supreme Lord always knows everything that happens." So we see the kind of Brahmana he was. He was taking everything as somehow the mercy of the Lord. So Krishna shows how he appears and how he gives everything where one is given everything. He is showing by the quality of this Brahmana why he made himself available to this Brahmana. Bring the fruits and the roots, other like things that are in your house, and give them to me. That will be my meal for the day. So the Brahmana is thinking, "Oh, your son is taking my food. No, don't beat him, but also don't worry. Just whatever roots and fruits and things you have in the house, just bring that, and I won't cook. I'll just take that. I'm okay. I'm not bothered. Don't you be so bothered. It's all right." Jagannath Mishra said, "If you accept me as your servant, then please agree to cook again. In my home are the ingredients for cooking. When you cook again, then I will be happy." All the family members also requested, "It is our wish that you please cook again." The Brahmana said, "If it is your desire, then I will cook everything once more." Brahmana wasn't worried, disturbed about his own situation. He was only cooking again because they were appealing to him, and so, as a proper sadhu, he was trying to honor their desire. Everyone was pleased by the Brahmana's words. At once, everyone, again, cleaned the kitchen and made all of the arrangements. They quickly made the arrangements for cooking, and the Brahmana, once again, he cooked. Everyone said, "This boy is very restless. He may spoil the offering once again. Take that child to another house and keep him there while the Brahmana cooks and eats." Sati Devi picked up her son and she carried him away to another house. And the lady said, "Oh Nimai, listen, why do you eat that Brahmana's food like that?" With a smile on his moon-like face, the Lord replied, "How am I at fault? The Brahmana called me." Everyone said, "Nimai, you rascal. Now that your caste is gone, what will you do? Who is this Brahmana? From what family does he come? Who knows him? Now that you've eaten his food, how can you keep your caste?" The Lord smiled and said, "I belong to the Gopa caste. I always eat food cooked by the Brahmanas." How does a Gopa lose his caste? By eating food cooked by a Brahmana. Speaking these words, the Lord smiled and he looked at everyone. Speaking these tricky words, the Lord explained the truth about himself. Still, no one understood him. They were bewildered by Maya. Hearing the Lord's words, everyone laughed. They did not try to conceal the thoughts within their hearts. Smiling and laughing, the people held the Lord in their arms. Whoever held the Lord floated in an ocean of bliss. The Brahmana, keep in mind this is the third time. The Brahmana cooked again. Then he sat down once again to offer the food to his deity. Meditating, deep meditation, the Brahmana made the offering to the Lord, to his Lord Bala Gopal. The boy Chaitanya, who is a super soul in everyone's heart, was fully aware of all of this. Bewildering everyone, Lord Chaitanya slipped, remember he's at another house now, they took him away. Lord Chaitanya slipped away unnoticed. Smiling and laughing, he approached the Brahmana once again. Unnoticed, the Lord took a handful of rice and he ate it. Then the Brahmana saw him. Hey, ha, ha! The Brahmana screamed. Supreme Lord ate the rice and he ran away. Jagannath Mishra jumped up, grabbed a stick, and he angrily chased the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Terribly, the Lord ran into a room, screaming in anger. Jagannath Mishra followed right after him. Jagannath Mishra said, after all, this is the third time, see what you have done. Today I have learned, and I am learned and respectable, but to your mind I'm only a great fool. Who has such a big thief in his home? Angrily speaking these words, Jagannath Mishra chased after the Lord, because it's the second time. Everyone tried to grab Jagannath Mishra and stop him. Jagannath Mishra said to them, let go. Today I will beat him for sure. Everyone said, oh Jagannath, Mishra, you are noble and you're generous. If you beat him, what will happen to your saintly qualities? A child of his age is naturally very foolish. He cannot know right from wrong. Still, you want to beat him? How will you teach him anything by beating him? You will not teach him anything in that way. Small children are restless by nature. Hurrying there, the pilgrim Brahmana grasped Jagannath Mishra's hand and he said, O king of the Mishras, this boy is not at fault. What is destined to happen on a certain day, it must happen. It is not written in my destiny that the day I may eat. So he's just accepting. He's totally dependent on the Lord. Doing what is necessary. Obstacles are there. He's not getting angry. Not getting distracted. He's not giving up. He's just thinking now, okay, this is circumstance. But he's just as fixed in worshiping his Gopal deity as anything. Unhappy, Jagannath Mishra could not lift his face. Unhappy at heart, he placed his head in his hands. At that moment, the effulgent Lord Vishwarup came there. The highest limit of his handsomeness rested on all of his limbs. In the 14 worlds, no one was like him. A Brahmana thread rested on his shoulder. He was Brahminical power personified. He was Lord Nityananda, who had taken birth in a separate form. Seeing this wonderful form, the pilgrim Brahmana became enchanted. He stared with fixed eyes. The Brahmana asked, whose son is he? Everyone said, he is Jagannath Mishra's son. Hearing this, the Brahmana happily embraced him and said, fortunate are the father and mother of such a son. Vishwarup offered obeisances to the Brahmana, sat down, spoke words that were extreme nectar. He said, anyone who has you for a guest in his house becomes very fortunate. your heart filled with bliss. You travel here and there only to purify the world. I am very fortunate to have you as my guest. I'm very unfortunate that I made you fast. A house where you are made to fast will attain the fruit of great inauspiciousness. Seeing you, I become very happy. By hearing what happened, I became very sad. The Brahmana said, please, do not be sad at heart. Without fruits and roots you have, I'll eat only that. And let me end because the time is running up. When I gaze at you, I feel great happiness. It is as if I have eaten millions and millions of times. Please bring some fruits and roots. The Brahmin is still saying this, do this, and I don't have to cook. Everything will be okay. Nagari Mishra gave no reply. Dejected, he sat down with his head in his hands. O saintly one, you are an ocean of mercy. Still I am afraid to speak before you. If you still have some strength, then please cook again. So this is the third time now. In this way, my family our unhappiness will perish, and we will all feel transcendental happiness. The Brahmana replied, I already cooked twice. Still, the Lord will not allow me to eat. This much I understand. It is not written in my destiny that the day I shall eat. Lord Krishna does not desire that the day I should eat. So why should I struggle to do it? One may have a home, many millions of things to eat, but if Krishna does not give the order, one will not be able to eat anything. So the Brahmana began to cook. Finally, everyone surrounded the boy Chaitanya. Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Chaitanya, was confined to his room. Nagari Mishra stood, this time guarded at the door. Everyone said, bolt the door from the outside, then he will not be able to escape. Nagari Mishra said, good, that is just the proper plan. Everyone bolted the doors and stayed outside. The ladies inside the room said, don't worry, Nimai. Nimai has gone to sleep. No, they said, don't worry. Talking to each other. Nimai has finally gone to sleep. He does not know anything now but sleep. In this way, everyone guarded the boy. Meanwhile, after some time, the Brahmana finished cooking. His third time, huh? After the cooking was finished, the pious Brahmana sat down and to meditate, to offer his prayers to the Lord Krishna. Lord Chaitanya, mind you, who is a super soul, it was in everyone's heart, knew all that had happened. In his heart he thought, I will now reveal myself to this Brahmana. Then following the Supreme Lord, wish Nidra Devi, who is Nidra Devi. Yes, the goddess of sleep. Bewildered everyone. Without a struggle, everyone fell fully asleep. Lord Chaitanya came to the place where the Brahmana was offering the food. Seeing the holy boy, the Brahman called out, hey! But everyone was deeply asleep. The Lord said, O Brahmana, you are a kind and a generous person. You called me, so I came. How am I at fault? Chanting my mantra, you called for me to come. I cannot stay away. I have come to you. You always yearn to see me, so now I'm showing myself to you. At that moment, the Brahmana saw a very wonderful 8-armed form holding conch shell, chakra, club, and lotus. He who manifested the form held fresh butter in one hand, ate it with the other, and played the flute with another. His smiling lotus eyes were restless. He wore a Vijayantari garland and swaying shark-shaped earrings. Then the Brahmana saw a wonderful Kadamba tree. He saw Vrindavan forest. Seeing this wonderful opulence, the pious Brahmana fainted in ecstasy. The Lord Chaitanya, who is an ocean of mercy, placed his graceful hand on the Brahmana's body. Touched by the Lord's hand, the Brahmana regained consciousness. was stunned with bliss. He did not speak a word. Again and again, the Brahmana fainted, falling to the ground. Again he stood up, and again he fainted, overwhelmed with bliss. Just see the Lord descending, monitoring his unalloyed servants, accepting their love and devotion. And now, just to enhance their joy and appreciation, he manifests himself directly by explaining and showing himself, revealing himself to this Brahmana. The hairs of his body stood erect. He trembled and perspired. He could not stay still, for his eyes and tears flowed like the Ganges river. He grasped the Lord's feet, and he loudly wept. Seeing the Brahmana's distress, the Lord smiled, and he spoke. The Lord said, "Listen, please listen, O Brahmana. For many births you have been my servant. Yearning to see me, you always meditated on me. For this reason, I now show myself to you." So sometimes we are wondering, is Krishna there? Is he watching us? Is he understanding us? Is he reciprocating? So Krishna is letting him know, look, Brahmana, I am showing myself to you. I've made myself available because you have made yourself available. You've been only thinking of me. You're always attentively serving me. You're giving everything for me. And lifetime after lifetime, you've been consistent. And so I am so honored to extend myself, to show myself to you, to let you see how much I'm appreciating who you are, what you are, to let you know how much my love has always been there with you. In a different birth, I showed you this same form to you in Nanda's house, but you did not remember it. When I descended to this world in Gokula, you also took birth, and at that time you happily went on pilgrimage. By destiny, you became a guest in Nanda's house, and at that time you also offered food to me. At that time, I showed you this same form. I also ate the food you offered. Birth after birth, you are my servant. Persons who are not my servants cannot see my form. What I have told you is a secret for you. So here, and we'll stop, I think our king is at 8 o'clock? Yes. So, in summary, we see how Lord Chaitanya, this little pastime, and we later explains why he came, to interact in this human-like expression, to bring this highest love and devotion down, in the most common form and level. And it can be a great reminder to us that Krishna is monitoring, he's always there, and to give us great solace in knowing the level of the Lord that we're worshiping. And so we go on with our devotion with more intensity and dedication. Sri Sri Mahaprabhu ki, Gaura Purnima Gonitai ki, Sri Sri Radha Damodar ki, Sri Sri Radha Kalakanji Jagannath Baladev Subhadra ki, Vaishnav Thakur ki. Hare Krishna.